All right, it's been a minute since I made a Top Shot video here, but for this one, I'm going to attempt to explain the playoff set for Series 2 and how this redemption thing will work, and also get into some strategy around it. To be honest, this thing is pretty confusing. Like, I'm 90% sure I know what's going on with it, so take that all this information with a grain of salt because some of it could not be 100% correct here. But I think I found the best way to explain this and kind of show you how it may play out for certain teams. So let's just get into it. So the first thing to know here that's not really in this blog post actually is each team is only going to have 15,000 mints for the playoffs. So you get two players. So for instance, if it's the Suns, you're probably going to get Durant and Booker. And then the third one is a wild card, which can be a different player every single time. And I think it has to be a different player every single time. And like for the Suns, I mean, probably the most sought after one's going to be Chris Paul for the wild card one. That moment will be distributed based on how many rounds they make. So that sounds pretty confusing right now, but we'll get a little more into that in a second here. So this graphic is pretty confusing, but it shows it pretty well. I'm not exactly sure why they decided to add this part with the X on it because it says you can do redemption or your first round moment, but you actually can't do the first round moment. So they probably should have just left that off. It makes it more confusing. And this is how I understand it. So essentially, in this example, if you get a redemption clay moment after the end of the first round, you have 48 hours to 72 hours or something to use your redemption NFT that's an actual NFT on Top Shot. This looks like any other moment to redeem that for a first round moment. So, assuming if you follow my mouse, you take your redemption after the first round, say the Warriors win, turn that into a moment here. So, then at the end of the second round, you can take that first round moment and turn it into a conference semifinals moment, or you could keep it, or if you never turned in your redemption for a first round moment, you can use that redemption to then turn that into a conference finals moment. So for round one, this is already sounding confusing to me. Round one, put it simply, the only way to get a round one moment is with a redemption NFT. In round two, there's two ways to get your conference semifinals moment. That's using the first round moment or redemption. Round three, there's also only two ways. It's the conference semifinals moment or the redemption. And then for the NBA Finals, you can use the conference finals moment or the redemption moment. So I think they just made this graphic way more confusing with adding these X's. I don't know why they did that, but anyway, they kind of broke it down here quite simply. Like I said, for a round two moment, you need a redemption or round one. For a round three moment, you need a redemption or round two. For a round four, you need a redemption or round three. And you cannot redeem a round one for a round three, for example. All right, so this is the easiest way that I think I can explain it with a visual. And basically, we have the Suns here. We have their redemption moments out of 5,000. First round, conference semis, conference finals, finals, etc. So you got Durant, Booker, and a wild card. Say the first round, at the end, the Suns win it, right? So 3,000 people are going to turn their redemption into a first round moment. So now redemption's out of 2,000, first round's out of 3,000. And then we go to the conference semifinals. Say at the end of the conference semifinals, say the Suns actually lose the conference semifinals, and the only way to get a conference semifinals Durant Suns moment now is to use this redemption, or you could turn the first round into it. So say 1,000 people use that redemption to get a conference semifinals, plus another 1,500 people turn that first round moment into a conference semifinals moment, and then we have to come back here and knock this down to 1,500. And basically that's what your Durant mint counts are going to look like. The redemption out of 1,000, the first round out of 1,500, conference semifinals out of 2,500. So the game after, say, the Suns lose in the conference semis is basically, what am I going to get the lowest mint count with? Is it keeping my first round moment? Is it turning the first round moment into a conference semifinals moment? Or if I have a redemption, is it holding the redemption and hoping that that's going to be the lowest mint count? Now, it's not for certain that a redemption left out of 1,000 is going to be worth more than a 1,500 first round or a 2,500 conference semis, but I would think that the price would go, if this was the case after the conference semis, if the Sun lost and this is how the mint counts came out, even though the conference semis should be more sought after, if it's minted to 2,500 versus 1,500 and 1,000, I would think the redemption is going to be the highest cost. First round is going to be the second most expensive, conference semifinal 2,500. I don't think people care as much about actually having a moment like the redemption. We don't know what they're going to look like, but I'm sure it's going to be at least a picture of Durant, maybe could even be some kind of video clip. So that's where it gets interesting here, is you got to decide what you want to do at this point. So if we can go back to the conference semifinals, say at the end of conference semifinals, the Suns actually won the series. So now let's go to the conference finals that the Suns are in. Say they lose in the conference finals, what two places can they pull from to get a conference finals moment? It's only going to be the conference semis and the redemption pool. So say 500 people take from the redemption pool, so that's 500, plus 1,000 from the conference semifinals. So then we're going to get 1,500, and this is going to go minus 1,000. And I should probably put a sum over here. So the sum of this plus this plus this plus this, just to make sure we're on track with the 5,000. So now what do we have here? The Suns have made it to the conference finals and they lost. The redemptions out of just 500. All three of these are 1,500. So I would think all these are going to be a pretty similar price, but we're running out of redemptions here, and this is now down to just 500. I would personally think that this would be worth the most in this situation. So it begs the question, if you think a team's going to go really far and you're not going to go after like the Master Challenge, do you just hold on to your redemption if you think a team's going really far? Because each round people can pull from the redemption and it gets smaller and smaller. But these ones I can't see getting as small, because after one round you can't pull from the first round or the semis now. So say the Suns actually won the conference finals and they're going to the finals. It's going to be pretty close, but I still could see the redemption being the most scarce one. So say just 100 people pull from the redemption, plus people really want this finals moment. They don't want a conference finals moment. So say, 900 take their conference finals, turn it into a finals moment. The mint count there is going to be 1,000, and this one is going to subtract 900. So now this one's 600 and 1,000, I could see something like that happening in the finals too, because people just want a finals moment versus a conference finals, which makes sense. But like, what's the difference between a first round and a conference semifinal round? I feel like people don't really care that much, or even a conference finals versus a conference semis. That's why I think they could be more even unless they go to the finals, and then a lot of people are going to turn their conference finals into finals moments. So I could see a scenario playing out like this for a team that makes it to the finals. And even, if they win the finals, it could be even more skewed. I think just more people would want a finals moment regardless of the mint count here. And we could end up with something like this, 400 redemptions, 1,500 first, 1,500 conference semis, 600 conference finals, 1,000 finals, and that would get you to the 5,000 mint count. Interesting tidbit here is the wild card, because you don't know what player it's going to be, and this is why I use the Suns So say the first round wild card is Chris Paul. A lot of people are probably going to want Chris Paul, and then even DeAndre Ayton. Maybe a lot of people would want him in the conference semifinals. But then, like, who are you getting down to? Who's like the Suns' fifth best player? Is it Josh Okogie? So then it's like, ooh, who wants a Josh Okogie? And then in the finals, you know, I don't even know who their sixth best player is. Like after they traded all these guys, like is it gonna be Cam Payne? It could be like Torrey Craig. So something interesting there is this, the quality of players decreases a lot with the wild card. So while this mint is 1,500, 1,500, 600, 1,000, you could see something for the wild card like 1,800, 1,700, 500, and 700 or something like that because less people want to turn their Chris Paul into an Aiton, and then even less people want to turn their Aiton into an Okogie, and then I mean I guess more people would want to turn that into a Craig because it's a finals moment, but like the quality of player can quickly go down for a team like the Suns. So, not gonna lie, I even confused myself with that a little bit. It is very confusing. There's a bunch of scenarios that could play out with it. Hopefully, I was giving correct information here. Definitely let me know if I wasn't, but I think that is all I got for this one. Let me know if you guys have ideas on redemption or if I'm totally way off here, and I'll catch you guys in another video.